everybody? Welcome back to another video of Top Farm. I haven't done a video in a while, probably about 2 or 3 weeks. Only for the simple fact is, the reason I haven't done a video in 2 or 3 weeks, I don't know, I don't think it's a lack of motivation. I think the reason why I haven't done a video in a few weeks is just haven't felt the need to, or there wasn't nothing really for me to talk about. But today, got done filling up those boxes with the compost that's in here. This stuff looks pretty good, and today I want to show you what you can do with your leftover food. Now, this old food was, I guess you could say, donated to us. It stinks, fermenting. It was donated to us from a pretty decent guy. I don't think his wife cooks very much, and it's had about 4 deep freezers worth of old food just frozen in there since like 1995. We had this stuff out here for about 3 or 4 days, probably even longer than that, just sitting out here in the
it's been about a week.
Yeah, just sitting out here in the bags. Of course, I'm gonna throw the bags away, but
There's another one.
I'll show you what to do with this old, stinky, decrepit food.
That stinks really bad.
I don't know if the camera can pick me up. You know, I say at some point we will get a new camera to make better videos. But right now, we don't get paid to make YouTube videos. We do this just because we enjoy this information to put out as something to add along with what we're doing. We also documenting our life and our journey. And that's why we started. Because where I started out in life is definitely not where I choose to end it. Also, we started writing our books, and maybe one day we'll do a video sitting down reading some of what we got written. I started a book. I'm gonna name it A Black Man in a White Man's Army, and just detail my experience shortly before joining the military, everything that happened while I was in the military, and of course when I got out, and me making it to where I'm at right now, because I'm a totally different person than the person that I was when I got out of the military. It took me a while to stabilize and normalize myself. You know, I deal with problems that most people would never deal with, and that's okay. Also, I'm a little bit more fortunate than some people, so it's a yin and a yang. It's a balance. Everything in life is a balance. But for today, we'll show you what to do with this old food in your compost pile. So I don't know if you can see how deep this thing is, but I'm gonna stand here and show you from the top to where I'm at. This thing is higher than waist deep. This hole is about chest deep. It's so deep that I had to leave a kind of like a ramp. I couldn't fully take it out because you have to come so low up in here. But
let me see how far I go.
Ooh, this thing is almost as tall as the hole is almost as tall as you. That lets you know how much work. And then if you can see how wide this is, you understand to get this hole this deep has been a process. It didn't happen overnight. It took a good long while, didn't it, baby? And dumping it in certain places. But the earth from this hole has gone to very good uses. One, we had a problem down at the bottom when we first moved here. There's a stream that's not on our property that had eroded. Ooh, you think that stinks, don't you? That stream had eroded. It had eroded all of our soil down there.
Looks like puke.
It does, doesn't it? This is really stinky stuff. A lot of stuff that we deal with here is stinky stuff. I mean, you farm, you're gonna
Don't get it in your shoe.
It did get in my shoe. Some of it got in my shoe. I'm not worried about it.
Ew.
It will be fine. A-okay. A lot of this stuff is stinky stuff. So this stuff is already composting. Of course, it's old stuff. Some of this stuff is 2001. He had it in a deep freezer since 2001. But the good thing about this stuff that's over here composting, and we're dumping it down in here, is old food makes the best fertilizer. You know, it's just, so we got all kinds of stinky stuff down in here. We got old fish. Then we got old fish down in here.
Mm-hmm.
Now we got old food down in here. We got soil down in here. We got fertilizer down in here. We got all kinds of stuff down in here. It's not the best material right now, but you know, next year this stuff sitting down here and just doing its thing and not being bothered. Within a year, this will be some tough stuff. Be stuff that we'll just add on the top of the soil up there.
Let me get you some scissors.
And no, we'll add it to the stuff up there, and when we do that, we'll till it into the dirt that we have, and it'll add to the organic matter. Don't throw up, baby.
I'm not. I'm covering up my nose.
Now, if you can tell the camera like what you would say this smells like, what would you say it smells like?
It's basically like from like what I think that it smells like.
Yeah, what do you think it smells like?
Okay, so just imagine puke with rotten food.
And that's what you got. So this stuff is really, really stinky. So if you do this, you can't be someone that's turned off by smells very easily.
Oh God, what is that?
It's collard greens.
Oh.
Stinks, doesn't it?
Yes, that looks disgusting.
Looks disgusting, smells disgusting. Now me, I'm not one to be so worried about smells and stuff.
No,
so.
you laughed at the damn fish compost. You were laughing your
that
ass
stuff was some
off.
stinky stuff, wasn't it?
Yes.
It was so stinky it made me laugh. Yeah.
God, look at that. Look. That stuff is probably like from 2001,
Yeah,
2002.
It really is.
Ugh.
Some really naughty stuff.
Some naughty stuff, alright.
Some naughty stuff. But this is that stuff that's gonna make that super grow. This stinky, putrefied stuff.
Oh God, that looks like puke.
It's gonna make the best growing material. Now, I'm just happy that my wife came out here. She normally won't come out here.
No, because I've been stung 3 times by wasps, so I refuse to come outside now.
Yeah, and that's okay that she does that. You know, it's not for everybody to be out here. I was doing some research for other people who do this. I realized, man, a lot of people don't do this on a small scale. A lot of people only do this if like they're working for a large company, and then they'll do it for a living. But as far as the average human being, whoo, that was extra smelly. The normal human being or the normal person, they don't enjoy this, and I don't understand why not. Why not? It's all like a, you know, I don't know if you were a kid and you were into science.
I was as a kid.
Then I don't understand how you don't love this stuff. If you were into science, because this is like a,
Cause
all this stuff is like a big science. Working with growing food. Some people like to grow flowers, but
ew, you just stepped in it.
I don't care.
That's okra.
Me, I don't like growing what I can't eat. So some people like growing flowers and stuff like that, but I think they call it the correct name for it is botany, I think. I have to look it. Don't take that up for me. If you're watching this, do some research of what botany is, because I think that's what this is. Or I know it's I know when you actually planting stuff, that's horticulture. But the actual fermenting and experimenting and stuff like that, I think that's botany. So I mean, there's not very many people that like this type of stuff. And I kind of say, like, you know, if you're young, like a kid's age, probably like 8 to 10, you know, 8 to 15 or something like that, or 5 to 15, I can understand why you wouldn't like this stuff. But for an adult, like if you got a job or something like that, and like you get off of your job, and like you don't have nothing to do besides sit around the house and watch some TV, or not just sitting around the house and watching some TV, but if you don't have nothing to do but go to the club and spend money and stuff like that, you should really look at this as an option for like something that you could be doing with your time that doesn't really cost money. It doesn't low, or if it does cost you money, it's low cost.
I'm getting bit up out here.
You getting towed up?
Yeah.
Where you getting towed up at?
Right there, my legs are showing, and
Ooh.
they're biting me through my tights.
Man, you got it. You like that Usher sound. You got it bad.
Mm-hmm. Itchy.
Yeah.
Look. See how they're all flying around my ankle?
Yeah, they ready to tear your butt up. They ready to get some food off of you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's gonna take a quick second for me to dump it all out. So instead of my wife just keep recording while I'm dumping it all out, I decided now that the videos need to be short. So it's just gonna go off for a second, and you'll come back when I'm finished. On the bottom.
Huh?
Said the light was on the bottom and not the top.
Mm-hmm.
All right, come on. All right. So I finished dumping that preacher stuff in there, but I gotta go get the hard rake, and on my way to get the hard rake, I almost ran face first into that. That's what I almost.
Good.
That's face eye level, and I almost ran straight into it.
That thing is ugly. It looks small from the camera, but actually looking in, like where I'm at, that thing is big. Ugh. Gosh. There's spider webs over here. I'll stay back here until you come. It's a good thing you looked up.
My wife is a classic case of what happens when you don't let your children come outside and play when they're young. So if you got children, just take the time out of your life to go out, to go sit outside, sit on your butt while they come outside and play. Because if you don't let them come outside and play,
They'll be just like me.
exactly, and that's not good. Because in today's society, women have to be just as productive as men.
I'm productive.
But in today's society, women have to be just as productive as men. In today's society, women take a lot of the roles that men that used to be for men. Now they're no longer for men. In the society we live in, people didn't want gender-specific roles. So since people didn't want gender-specific roles, guess what? Women have to do the jobs of men. So if you got a daughter out there, if you're a father in your daughter's life, don't raise up to be a girly girl. Raise up to be the type of girl that can change the oil in a car, change a tire if she gets lost on the side of the road. Raise your daughter up to come outside. Raise your daughter to learn how to work. Work hard from a young age. You know, basically, if you're a father out there, don't raise your daughter to be as if what traditional girls were raised to be. Raise her the same way you would raise a boy. Only difference is, you know, tend to her needs as a young lady and nurture her and try to, you know, take the time to explain things to her a little bit more in detail. So what I'm doing right now is, you see I laid it down, and right now I'm just covering it up. And by covering it up, we're doing two things. So this has been rotated twice already. Well, it's been rotated once. And this is rotating it again, also covering that stuff up so it can go ahead and continue on with its fermenting process and continue to break down. And in 6 months, when we need to come back and use it again, it'll be good stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the name of the game, folks. See, some of this stuff is pretty hard. See, when it sits down in there, it rains on it, gets compacted pretty good, and comes a little bit of a task to beat it down. But you know, I'm glad I can share this with somebody so somebody can see it, see how simple it is, and then implement it in their own practices. What I can tell you is, with everything that goes on out here, you know, it's a process. It doesn't happen overnight. You can't build things up to be the way you want them to be overnight. You know, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We got 10 raised beds out here. Took about 2 months, 3 months, 90 days or something like that. No, we got 11. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We got 12 raised beds out here. And it took about 3 months to get them completely filled up. From hauling dirt and stuff like that into them and putting this stuff on the bottom layer, even though it's not all the way broken down. But I don't know if you can see it on the camera. It's broken down pretty good in about 5 months. It does not look like, for instance, the leaves that are on the ground right there, because it's not just leaves, but it does have leaves in it as a base. But it doesn't just look like, hey, it's a pile of leaves out here. Actually, you can see the color is different. You can see by the color how it's broken down. You know, and we just add something else into it. You know, rotate it as we add it. Next time we have something else to add into it, we'll rotate it again and add what we have to add to it again. Now the next thing I want to add to it is straight up cow manure. Straight from the cows behind.
Mm.
From the cows behind to down here in this hole.
Oh,
And that'll be pretty good stuff. And before we end, I'll tell you we caught a snake in our house. There was a snake in our house. When you live in the woods like we do, in the middle of nowhere in the woods, you might run into a snake every now and then. We ran into a snake in our house.
And I caught it.
And she's so proud of herself, she just keep throwing it around it. I caught it, I caught it, I caught it.
Good, you were dancing around with it yesterday.
Yeah. She's so proud of herself.
I love snakes.
I give it up to her though. She did catch it. Even though it was absurdity. But, you know, we took it to, well, my wife took it to, where?
PetSmart.
PetSmart. We found out it's not poisonous. And, gave her the last little money I had in my pocket, cash, which I haven't had cash in my pocket in so long that I was just holding on to that little $5. I was holding on to that $5. I didn't want to ever spend it because it's probably been over a year since I had some cash in my pocket. And gave it to her though to get a little mouse for it, and also to
Put some gas in the car.
put a few dollars, about a gallon of gas in the car just to replace what was spent to get out there to go find out what it was. And in the end of all that, hell, I got jury duty on Wednesday. You know, my aunt told me not to go do it, whatnot. My wife tried to convince me not to do it, but in the end, I told my wife, you know, it's somebody's life, you know, that's being put on trial. Do I think that's fair in this society, the things that people's lives are put on trial for? No. Notice they don't call it the justice system. There is no justice in the system. They call it the criminal justice system. And as I've heard another intellect say, once you start putting names on top of names, the meaning of it is not what it's intended to be. So there is no justice in the justice system. But to give it some justice, you know, I told him I need to go do this jury duty so I can be a fair and impartial juror. You know, if the guy is guilty, you know, then I'll say he's guilty. But so I have an opportunity to prevent somebody from just being railroaded in the system. And that's a very important responsibility. So if there's another minority out there, whether you're American, African, Middle Eastern, or South American, you know, any other minorities out there, you know, if you're called upon to do jury duty, you should take that as part of your responsibility in life to say, hey, I need to do this because, you know, it might be my cousin, or it might be one of my family members, or it might even be me who ends up in a situation where, you know, I'll need a truly fair and impartial person to be there. And So go do that not just for that person that's being placed on trial that could potentially be innocent, and if you're not there, just be found guilty based upon their skin color. uh, find it in your heart to take the time, if you're called upon to go do jury duty, just to go do it. um, it's the right thing. It's the right thing to do. Like I said, it could be your family members in that situation who needs a fair and impartial person to show up. Now, one thing I said that I would not do is, if they're guilty, I'm uh, not just gonna be like, oh, not guilty. If it's in my heart to say, hey, the evidence presented says that this person is guilty. Um, you know, I've taken a case to trial before and I lost. So, you know, hey, and I do say in that case, and I've always admitted that, there was some fault, some degree of fault to me for me to end up in that situation. But I took it to trial because what I was being accused of, I did not do. So, but because, you know, there wasn't a fair and impartial jury there, um, I was convicted of a crime that I didn't commit. Now, there was a crime that I confessed to. I know that, arguing with a spouse or something like that, you getting into an argument or you throwing something, yeah, that could be classified as assault. But you getting into an argument with somebody and you throwing something it doesn't equate to assault with a deadly weapon. Maybe it does. Maybe my definition of what the crime was is wrong. Maybe I did commit the crime. But I felt in my heart that, you know me being charged with assault with a deadly weapon for breaking some stuff that was mine in the first place. It's my stuff. You know, I felt like, hey, this is overbearing of a charge. So I felt like, hey, I'm gonna take it to trial, and somebody else will come to the same conclusion that I came to, like I'm being overcharged, which nobody came to the same conclusion that I came to. And so now, almost 10 years later, we're thinking, as our business does better, I'm gonna get a lawyer and go back to trial, because I took it to trial, I lost. I want to get a lawyer and go back and and get a lawyer that'll bring the case back up and take it to trial again. And see, this is the thing when you take a plea deal. And I understand why some people don't take plea deals, but 95% of people do take plea deals. And if you have good morality and you have a firm understanding of yourself, and you don't feel like, hey, I'm going to take this plea deal, I feel like I'm being unjustly charged here, I'm going to take this to freaking trial, and then you lose. This is a good thing about the system. You can always hire a lawyer and take it back to trial again if you lose. But if you take a plea deal, that's it. You'll never be able to argue your case again. Even though I'm found guilty and stuff like that, and in my records it shows that I'm guilty of a crime. At the same time, I didn't have a lawyer at the time, and I didn't know how to speak legalese, so I couldn't represent myself. I don't know how to speak legalese, but I have studied legalese now. It's not something that I'll dedicate the type of time to learning legalese, and to the point where I can go into a courtroom and represent myself and represent somebody else. That takes about 4 years, and that's called a paralegal. When you go learn legalese to the point where you where you can represent somebody. Also, with that stuff, I'm gonna tell you about the justice system in America. Anytime you have a justice system where there's a completely different language spoken in that justice system, and also to understand that language and understand the meanings and the definition of common words compared to legalese words, there's something wrong with that system. It's something wrong when you can't go represent yourself and just tell your truth. You know, there's obviously something wrong with the system. Also, everything in the so-called criminal justice system is a double-edged sword. As you study legalese, you'll learn it's all poetry and that nothing is definitive. Nothing about it is definitive. There is no justice. There's just, you hiring the right people to represent you, and then you'll get, a better outcome. There's no justice about it at all. So that's why I'm going to go and go do my jury duty, because an individual like myself can add justice to the fake justice system. I can go bring some true justice by listening to the pure facts of the case. And but even then, like, let's say that I listen to the facts of the case and I determine that through the hearings of the case that I don't feel like the person is guilty. Well, that's just a feeling. I could be wrong about my feeling, and that would even suck even more, that I was there and I'll be the only minority, and the person that I'm going to be on the jury for is another minority, and I have a gut feeling that this person is innocent, and and I choose not to convict this person or pose my vote of guilty or innocent, and come to find out I'm wrong, and he's really a real life dirtbag, and he really did commit the crime, and I just voted for somebody to have a mistrial to go to another trial when he was guilty. So I mean, it's all on feelings, and since it's all based upon feelings, then I understand why a lot of people get away with things. I understand why, other people, can't get away with anything, because it's all based on feelings. Well, guys, I talked to you about something randomly irrelevant. I got this done.
Yep.
You've seen the process.
The video is going to be 25 minutes long.
These long videos, I understand why there's no viewership of these videos, but we have a Facebook page called ALA Top Farms. That's TOPALA TOPFARMS. Go check us out on Facebook. Leave a comment if you like the video. Leave a comment? What do you think about the criminal justice system? Since I was talking about it, if you have the time, you make it to this point of the video, leave a comment. What do you think? What's your experience with the criminal justice system? And do you believe there's any true justice in America? Leave a comment. Yeah. And with that being said, guys, thank you for watching the video about Top Farms. We're out farming. We should have some food soon. We got some watermelons looking good. They're little, but they're coming. And man, future success. We're working towards the future success. I would like to give thanks to the Department of Veteran Affairs, and I would like to give a thanks to my wife, my family, all my supporters. With that being said, guys, see you later on the next video.